Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. New week, no hair. Little shave, little fresh shave on a Monday morning. Good morning. Welcome to it. Episode what? 698. We're going to hit episode 700 this week on Hobby Evolution. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? Good morning. Happy Monday. I've been up a while, yet this is still, I saved my first cup of coffee for you this morning. And it's so tasty because I have been up for a while. I woke up again. I woke up at 4:30 this morning, wide awake. Looked at my phone, realized it's 4:30. I'll be taking a nap by 11. I'm gonna go back because that hour of sleep, that extra hour, even when you're working from home, and I don't have to get up. I don't have to go live at 7 a.m., but I do because it keeps me honest. So that extra hour though means a lot. So I woke up at 5:30, came down, got some shipping done, on a roll. So I listed some wrestling cards yesterday, 2017 Topps WWE Heritage. Those singles are now in my eBay store. I'll be listing some other inserts. Listed some. I think I finished listing all of my pro debut hits, color, and autos, and I've listed a couple other heritage, and then I listed a couple other batches of cards to my eBay store yesterday. Dan and George with us from Korea. Good evening to you, fellas. And I was looking at. I started last night after I listed. Spent much of the day shipping, and so last night I wanted to get some more listings up. And I started to think, okay, I'm with Car Dealer Pro. I'm really scaling up fast. I've got to think of. I need to be prepared for the next decision when I hit 60,000 listings. That's how many free listings per month I get with my premium eBay store subscription. 10,000 plus the 50,000 in select categories, which fortunately sports trading cards falls under that select category section. So it's like I'm going to have to run the numbers. So I started crunching the numbers, and it's like, do I just list a few more and pay for those insertions? Because once you hit wrong tab, once you hit it, I think it's 15 cents in the premium store per listing. That may be off, but when you go to the Anchor store, now there's a big price difference between premium and Anchor. So I pay $60 per month for my premium store. The next level up, it's a jump, $300 for the Anchor store subscription per month. So that's a tough pill to swallow, but it's going to become a necessity, and I will be jumping to that Anchor store subscription shortly after I hit 60,000. I'll let it ride, go past 60,000, but probably not, maybe a couple hundred listings. That's it. And then I'll jump to the Anchor store, because so premium, I get 60,000 free listings per month. It is 10 cents, 10 cents per listing after that. So 60,000 with the premium store. I'm only at 23,000 right now. So still a ways to go, but I am getting to that. I'm scaling fast. Anchor store, $300 per month. It's 100,000 free listings, 25,000 in all categories, 75,000 in select categories. So that'll give me an additional 40,000 listings, and then additional listings on top of that is only a nickel, 5 cents per listing. So that's what I'm going to go to. And then if you want 200,000 listings, then you've got to go to the enterprise, which I believe is like 3,000. What's the enterprise? Yeah, it's $3,000. You go from Anchor to Enterprise, it's 3,000. So we won't be going to the Enterprise, at least in the near term, but I do plan on getting to the Anchor store. When will I get to the Anchor store? Probably not until first quarter of 2023. So first couple months into 2023. I'm at what 20? What did I say? 23,000 right now. I would anticipate hitting 50,000. Let's see. Probably hitting that 60,000 mark, probably February or March. So that's probably when I'll bump it up and do that anchor store. Let's see. Let's go back into the chat. George says, talking about singles, I had something that I laughed at and ignored on ComC the other day. Interesting. Ed says, good morning, Dan and George. What's up, Ed? Jayhawk Farm, good morning. What is up? Boston Smoke in the house in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Good morning. George said, person made an offer on only one card. Original price was 50 cents. Person offered 35 cents. I ignored the offer. You got to bring more to the table for me. Jenny, what's up? Good morning. I missed the very start. Weibo jumping to the anchor store. Just numbers wise. Once I get to, I'm not jumping to it yet, but once I max out my free listings on the premium store, then I'll have to jump to the anchor store just based on the numbers and crunching the numbers. So just scaling, being able to scale more, scale faster. George says, if they had picked out 10 cards that were 50 cents each and offered $3.50, then I would have taken it. Boom. And that's that. And so here's why. This is a perfect example, and George followed it exactly how I handle things on eBay. Which is why I also have offers open. So if somebody comes in and I have a $1.50 card, say 1990 tops for George, a 1990 tops Ozzie Smith card, and this is going to be $1.50 free shipping in my eBay store. If George comes into my eBay store and offers me $1, I'm going to counter, and my lowest price will be $1.40. And some people counter back $1.10. It's like, and if they only do that, then it's like, okay, decline. We're not getting anywhere because my price is $1.40. Sometimes I'm nice if they counter it like $1.30 or $1.35. It's like, okay, fine, take it. You win. Does it make you feel better to win the negotiation? So if the same person wants 10 Ozzie Smith cards and 90 tops and 89 tops and 80, he wants the tops run of the junk wax era, and he wants 10 of them, I will gladly sell him 10 Ozzie Smiths for $1 each, but I'm not going to sell one of them for $1. So that's, and so people say, well, why do you even have offers open if you're only going to knock 10 cents off the price? Well, it's not that. It's sometimes we see that and we think we're not thinking outside the box. We're thinking, I hate that term, by the way. We're kind of tunnel vision with it. It's like, well, why do you even have offers open? Or why don't you, if you're only going to go to $1.40, limit it to $1.40? Because there's exceptions. If somebody wants to buy 30 cards, I'll give them 33% off, or they can get them for 99 cents or $1. So that's why I love having options open. And Ted, I don't know if Ted from Collects is listening, but please have the offer in Car Dealer Pro because I need the offers. I need the accepted offers in those spreadsheets. So that's exactly how I handle things on eBay. If you're gonna buy one card, the discount's not gonna be as good. If you want to buy 10 cards, the discounts will be greater. Terry Alexander, what's up? Good morning. Tracy's in the house. Good morning. Good morning, all. Glad I get to join today and tomorrow. Student holidays, so I have free time. Heck yeah. Herman, what is up? Brian, my buddy Brian in the house. Only have time to pop in and say hello. Hoping to get more cards listed on my eBay account. Let's do lunch soon. Absolutely. Brian's here in Madison. Definitely. This week will be tough. We're coming up on the big indoor sports center 250 table Midwest premiere this Saturday and Sunday down in Loves Park, Illinois. Runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day, Saturday and Sunday. That's this coming Saturday and Sunday, October 15th and 16th. Indoor Sports Center. I love the venue. Absolutely love the venue. The show floor is on the indoor soccer field. It's a nice, soft turf. We all love the carpets at card shows. That's what we have at the Midwest Premiere. There's a bar restaurant that overlooks the show floor, so you'll walk in. You'll go you'll walk in the main door, the front door, and then you'll go straight back, and it's only, I don't know, 20 feet, and then you'll swing right. You can't miss it. You'll swing right, and boom, that's the show floor. You can take the steps up, and that takes you into the restaurant. I think their like grand opening is the day before, is like this Friday, under new ownership. So they will have a limited menu, but they will have appetizers and they'll have beers if you so choose. They'll have sodas if you so choose. So I'm excited for that this Friday and Saturday. And then the Madison Card Show a week from Saturday, October 22nd at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. 9 to 3 free admission, 125 tables next Saturday, October 22nd in Madison. Come out to the card show and then go down to Camp Randall Stadium. The Badgers put on an offensive show this past weekend. In offensive football, not offensive as well, their offense has been offensive in other games this year. Not so this Saturday, 42-7 win over Northwestern. They play Purdue next a week from Saturday, the 22nd. It's homecoming in Wisconsin. So come out to the card show, head down to Camp Randall after the show, and watch some Badger football against the Purdue Boilermakers. Where are we at here in the chat? We've got Jenny reminding us no mail. Thank you, Jenny, because I would have gone to the post office today. I forgot there is no mail today. I still am doing a lot of shipping just so I'm not behind, because I do want to I want to be on top of the shipping, because I will be out of town from like Friday afternoon until Sunday night. So I will be buried this time next Monday. I will be buried in shipments. At least I hope so, because if I'm buried, that means the sales are going swimmingly, and that's what we want. Boston Smoke says, when you buy a collection and come across a factory sealed set from the junk wax era, say 88 Topps baseball, do you sell the set or break it up for singles? That's a wonderful question. That is a great question. And for me, and how I sell and what I sell, I break sets. Now I did buy a collection back in like May that had a lot of sets. And there are some like factory sealed and just like box sets. I haven't touched those yet, just because I just don't feel a need at this time to break them up and put them on eBay. There were that same collection I bought had collated sets and binders. Those I pulled, and I just put the binders in a bulk to sell in bulk. But factory sets I handle a little differently. Like if it's in a binder, I'll just pull the cards right away because they're in a binder. The factory sets I will, sometimes keep sealed. I think I have a few that I haven't busted open. I think I have a 90 to 91 upper deck. Looks like I have a couple score sets. I think those are 88 score. I think there's a 91 score and a 90 Fleer. So those are sets that, the singles are a dime a dozen. So I just kind of keep them. So really my answer is neither. I just put them on a shelf. But if it's a set, so say if it's an 88 top set, I'm probably just putting it on the shelf. If it's, say, a 90 score, I will break it up because there are cards in there. The Bo Jackson shoulder pads card will sell, the Frank Thomas, and then the rest I'll just throw on eBay for $150 and pull the Cubs aside. If it's sets that have cards that you may be able to get $5 or $10 on a single or two, then I'll break it right away. But if it's like 88 tops, I'll probably just hold on to it for a while. The last thing I'll do is sell it, because it just doesn't make sense to sell at least online because of the shipping cost. So if I did want to just flip it as a set, I'd go to a card show and put $5 on it, because they're really not worth it to sell, because it's going to cost you like $15 to ship, and most of them aren't even worth $15. So I would say, so basically what I do is I just put it on a shelf. But uh, if I had to choose one or the other, break it to sell in singles or sell it as a set, I will break it up all day. That is a great question, though. JG says, anyone else catch the auction last night on eBay? PCB Comics and Sports, all 1996 Chrome Refractor Baseball, the first year of Chrome, about 400 items. Jeter, Griffey to Commons inserts. What a great set! No, I did not see that. I'm curious what some of those sold for, though. Victor, what's up? Victor, good morning. Half day at work as the banks are closed. Yahoo! The banks are closed as well. I didn't have a bank run planned today. Let's see. Herman says, I sold more on eBay this weekend while I was away than I normally do in 2 weeks. That's the vacation luck. That is the vacation luck. That happens. It's weird how that happens. It's like all of the advice is you have to be active within eBay. That springs the algorithm into your favor. And then it's like, so we're constantly messing around in our eBay just to make sure we're showing eBay we're active and help that algorithm. And then we'll take a few days off and not touch eBay, and boom, sale. So Herman, that's awesome to hear. I had a good weekend. October started out really well. It seems to be, and I don't have the numbers to like back this up or anything, but it just anecdotally speaking, it seems like the first like week and a half to 2 weeks of the month, and this seems to be a trend the last couple months, have been off to a hot start. And then it kind of slows down towards the end of the month, and then boom, the floodgates open back up. And like my chart is just since October, it's like the faucet just went into overdrive starting October 1st. Actually, it started September 29th. That's when my charts just went crazy. My sales are up 27% in dollars. Listing impressions are getting back on track. I'm still in the red, down 1.2%. But everything else, traffic-wise, is in the green. Page views are up 6%. Sales conversion rate is up 0.5%. I'm at 8.2% in sales conversion, which is pretty good. Let's go in and do a deeper dive and see what these numbers are. Does it show sales conversion? I just want to see what my conversion rate was. It doesn't show it in the screen. Let's see. So yeah, everything seems to be going up. Hopefully that trend continues and keep striking with more and more listings. So let's see. Where are we at? Dan posted a new video. Check it out. Dan, post the link if you can. Jorthax, what is up? Any tactics you use that could translate well to CCG sales, Magic the Gathering, etc., or that you've seen others employ? Man, I don't know anything about Magic, Pokemon, or the like, but that doesn't mean that some of the tactics I use can't be employed into that. And I think it all starts with knowing what you can sell. Sometimes that takes just some trial and error. I do this often where it's like, I want to try selling Minute Bowl and Muggsy Bogues, and then boom, they sell. And that I kind of started that out with Bears cards. It's like, I love Jim McMahon in the fridge, and people still look at the 85 Bears team as this like otherworldly football team. And there's a huge demand for players from that era, the fridge, Peyton, McMahon. So that's kind of how I started out with my trial and error. And then I okay, Icky Woods. And I sold a 91 Upper Deck Football Icky Woods card on eBay this weekend. fan favorites like that. I don't know how that translates to the TCG world. But I think organization, once you start scaling up, if you're doing volume, you have to have good organization. I use the eBay SKU. And so this is box one, and I just do tabs so I can easily find the cards, make sure to limit it to like less than 100 cards per section. So it's quickly, you can quickly pull. So those are just some of the things that you can that translate over to really any thing you're selling in volume wise. Let's see. George says I would most likely sell it sealed, much less time in listing a sealed set than listing singles, and a quicker return. Max says no mail today. Is it Columbus Day? I believe it is Columbus Day. Victor says, Herman, send me your eBay link, and I have a huge mail coming your way. Terry breaks the sets. Paige and Deanie Bean, good morning. Happy holidays. Right on. Let's see. Where are we at? Examine Baseball. What's up, Nick? Also, what tips do you have for buying a vintage collection? I might have an opportunity soon. So my tips on buying a collection, and this is just kind of how I look at a collection. So I'll look at a collection and I kind of eyeball to see, okay, what are the bigger cards in the collection? And I always want the seller has to name a price. If he says, well, what are you thinking? Well, I'm not thinking anything until you tell me a number. That's what I say. The seller names his price. And then from there, I kind of look at it. How I break it down is if it's all commons, it's going to be a much lower price point. But if there's, say it's vintage, say there's some Mickey Mantles in there, Willie Mays, whatever, I'll take a look, and let's just say it's a $1,000 vintage collection. It's small. It's a $1,000 vintage collection. There's one or two poor condition 69 tops Mickey Mantles. I don't know what those go for. Say they go for $100. Say there's two or three Willie Mays that are $100 each. And then the rest are commons. Say there's 1,000 commons, and he wants $1,000. I'm going to take those higher dollar cards. Say there's only 3 high-end cards. The rest are like a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. I'm probably going to offer like $500. And that's pretty much going to be where I'm at on something like that. It's like, okay, the Mantles and the Mays, $300 to $400, and then there's 1,000 other cards that are going to sell for $1, maybe even a quarter if they're beat up or whatever. But just say the rest are like all less than $5. So I'm going to be okay. 500's kind of my max. If he's at 1,000, I'm going to say 500. That's my best. And go from there. So that's kind of how I look at it, is what's in for an example that I can use is there was a collection, it was $1,000. And it was a huge bulk collection, a lot of commons. So it was about 300,000 cards. And there was a lot of like $5 items, $10 items, but there wasn't a lot to get me back to $1,000. There was a 70, I think it was a 77 or maybe 78, 79 tops baseball sets. I think it was 78 and 79. So I knew I could sell those for about $100 a pop. And this was maybe 5 years ago. And then there were a couple other things that I knew, they may be $100 items. So there were 3, 4, 5, 6 items that I can get halfway to $1,000, but there was so much volume there. And there were, it was just massive numbers of $5 cards, $3 cards. So it's going to take some work to get there. And then there was just the bulk that, okay, maybe in 5 years, if I do this full time, I'll put them in an eBay store for $1.50. Totally wasn't thinking that at the time. So that's kind of how I looked at that one, where it's like, okay, there's definitely, well more than $1,000 worth of cards. And I think he started at like 1,500 or 1,600. I countered it like 7. And I think we agreed on 950. I think maybe he started at 1500. I was at like 6 or 700. And he's when I said whatever it was, say it was 600, he goes, that's lower than I want, but I appreciate you not lowballing me too much. He's like, how about we just split the difference and go 950? Because he had got and it wasn't like he wasn't like telling me that I lowballed him. He's like, I had a lot of people like offering me $100, which I know all too well how that can go on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. So those are some of the tips, and like every collection is different. So it's hard to give you like a solid answer. But I kind of take a look at, say there's 3, say it's a vintage collection, 1,000 cards total, maybe they're lower grade, and there's 3 cards that are worth $100. The rest are commons to minor stars, nothing more than $5. And that's kind of how I would go. And if they offered, like, if they said, okay, I want 5,000 for it because it's Mickey Mantle, it's like, well, it's $100 card. If I'm like, we're not even close. I probably wouldn't even counter if it was a crazy number. I wouldn't even counter. I'd just be no thanks. Every situation, because every seller's different, every collection is different. It's hard to really know, but bottom line, I kind of take a look at the highest dollar cards and how I could get there. That's kind of like with the collection. One of the dealers and I were going to go in and we actually offered put a price down, which was a very fair offer, and it was in the ballpark of what other people that had viewed the collection and said this is probably what you're going to get for it. It was right in line, but it was like a family. There were siblings involved, and it just I don't even know if they ended up selling at all. But it was our offer. There were probably, piecing it out, potentially 4 to 5 times what we offered, but it was going to take so long and so much time to piece it out, because it was mostly $20 cards, $10 cards, and it was a significant amount of money where it was going to take a long time and a lot of work to even get to break even. Now, again, it was worth way more than that offer, but there was so much work involved, and it's like, I'm not comfortable paying any more than this number. Low Roller is in the house. What's up? You can use variation listings. There you go. Use that advice. Not my advice, but that's Low Roller's advice. Jeremy, good morning. Paige and Deanie Bean says PayPal is now fining $2,500 if you get caught spreading disinformation. I saw something on Twitter recently about that. Did they backstep on that? I was a big PayPal fan. Until like really when managed payments came up, I still think managed payments is great. Now, I think there are some issues within eBay's system, but overall, I think it's way better than PayPal. And I don't understand why people were like, "Oh, managed payments is the worst thing ever. PayPal was so much better." No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And PayPal's only gotten worse since. And I rarely use PayPal. So I have PayPal hooked up. I have it hooked up to like when I make purchases, but I like drain my account. Whenever I get money in, it goes out like immediately. Because I don't trust PayPal. Kind of like what Paige and Deanie be. That's an example. I don't trust PayPal. So I get that money out of there as quick as possible. But I use it for like eBay, and it's just connected to like my credit card, so I get points. And it just comes out of my credit card. And then I use it as like a payment form. Like if somebody wants to pay at a card show, I have PayPal, or dealers can send, pay their table fees through PayPal. But But again, as soon as the day's over, transfer, get that money out of PayPal because I do not trust PayPal. DJ Local, what's up? Good morning. Made my first eBay card sale. Congrats. That is the first of many, I hope. It's always awesome to get that first one out the door. JG says Jeter sold for $13.30, Griffey $6.60, any Hall of Famer around 100, Commons around 10. Very cool. The 96 refractors. Pepino Man, what is up? Do you have any pet peeves in the hobby? Of course. Pet peeves in the hobby. I think one of my there's so many. Which ones do I choose? I think one of my biggest pet peeves is like the gatekeeper mentality. That's pretty broad. But I don't like the mentality. Like I don't like that. I don't want to give any specific examples, but I don't like that mentality. There's a lot with social media. And it's kind of like so I guess I can expand upon that. It's almost like the collector versus dealer / investor minds. It's like there's a place for everybody in the hobby, and I don't get the the high rollers will look down upon the guys set building at a card show and like, oh, they're just the set builders. And I don't like the set builders claiming that they're true collectors because they've never sold a card, and they look down upon the investors trying to make a buck. There's a place for everybody. I wish we could all get along, but it's human nature, right? If somebody doesn't have the same views, we disagree, and it's just not good. So I guess that's my biggest pet peeve is there's a place for everybody. And in the gatekeeping mentality goes on, both sides, the dealer investor side and the collector side. So that's probably my biggest pet peeve in the hobby. There's Dan's link to his video. Diego's in the house. What's up, Diego? Let's see. Diego says, good morning, card tubers. Let's see. Dan says, how exactly would that be applied to someone? And that was my question, and I didn't even want to look into it further. I just saw that and I'm like, is this legit? Like, is there any legitimacy behind this? Let's Google it because I didn't even look into it. PayPal disinformation. Okay, so yeah, there are some Washington Examiner. I assume that's Axios, National Review. Let's see if this is the first one that pops up. Is National Review a legit publication? Let's see what their other headlines are. I don't know anything about this publication, but let's see. Well, it's under woke culture, so I don't know. I don't know if this is a publication that woke culture is. I don't know if that's that seems demeaning. Maybe it's not, but it seems demeaning. Let's read this and let's try to find other articles. So PayPal is so here's the latest. This came out 2 days ago. PayPal has backtracked on a published policy that would have fined users $2,500 for spreading misinformation, claiming the update had gone out, quote, in error. An AUP notice recently went out in error that included incorrect information. PayPal is not fining people for misinformation, and this language was never intended to be inserted in our policy. Our teams are working to correct our policy pages. We're sorry for this confusion this has caused. Okay, so and I wonder if that's one of those things like the Beckett slabs at the National, like, hey, look at these new Beckett slabs, and then everybody hated them. And then they're like, no, these aren't our new slabs. No, we never said that. I wonder if it's one of those things. Whatever happened to the Beckett slab? The new Beckett slab? Like it was a big thing at the National for a day, and then it just went quiet. Let's see. Victor says the fridge canceled his appearance yesterday at my local card show in Bridgeview. I wondered if that might happen, Victor, because I think that's happened before. Um, but also, I don't think he's in the greatest of health. And does he live in South Carolina? I just, I'm not surprised by that. Fall Creek Collectibles, what is up? Good morning. Wait, define vintage first. Nick says 1960s. There you go. Here's Fortune. I trust fortune.com. Okay, what's Fortune say? So this is the latest. So this is even newer. This is from this morning. PayPal tells users it will fine them $2,500 for misinformation, then backtracks immediately. So there you go. Does it even? I don't know. I wonder what the policy said. Huh. I don't know. I'm curious what that original language was. George says, Link says that PayPal said it was a mistake. John, what's up? That 70s card show. We look at it differently. I try to absorb into my collection and sell the rest to cover the purchase. Collector here. And yeah, that's what I was up until last October. I sold cards, but it was only to buy more. It was, Mike Summers says, what's the wording? Self-sustaining hobby, which I think is smart. I mean, sell cards to buy more cards. I think that's genius. And that's totally, how I looked at it up until a year ago. I've always, when I was a kid, in 1990, buying packs of 1990 Fleer, chasing Kevin Moss. I would get a duplicate Kevin Moss, and I would trade it to get a Sean Dunston, Andre Dawson, Mark Grayson, Ryan Sandberg card to better my Cubs collection. Which there's a place for it all. Except the scammers. There's no place for those. Let's see. Paige and Deanie Bean says, I really don't know. They put it in their policy. I heard PayPal apologize, but it's in the news. Let's see. John says, just bought 1,200 Jordans from the 80s and 90s for $300. 400 went into my collection with book value of 1,600. Just sold the dupes for 1,000. I consider myself a winner. Absolutely. I mean, you have cards for your personal collection, and you made a $700 profit. That's a big win. Let's see. George says, I don't like PayPal and never have. Back when I did have it, they would freeze accounts for all kinds of random stuff. That's kind of initially why I didn't like PayPal was, it's like, and it was like really tough to get back. Now, follow the rules, but I almost feel like that's when they would freeze accounts and hold your money hostage. I almost feel like it seems illegal to me. But I'm sure in the fine print, it's okay. And the fine print that none of us read. But follow the rules. And a lot of those, using friends and family on sales. You're not supposed to do that. Don't do that. So it's kind of like, I don't agree with it, but I'm okay with it. In those circumstances, it's kind of like how I viewed smoking in bars. Illinois put in you can't smoke inside bars. They put that in 2005, 6, somewhere in that range. And I remember going to bars, and I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. And I would come home from a bar and my clothes would stink. My hair would stink. And it's like, I hate going to the bar and smelling like smoke. But it's like, I feel like it's a choice. If you want like a bar setting. Now, going inside McDonald's and smoking a heater inside McDonald's, that's a little different. But a bar, like I would be okay with that. I can choose to not go into a bar. And that's kind of how I looked at PayPal. It's like, okay, well, I don't agree with freezing accounts, but you were also breaking the rules, so I'm okay with it. Let's see. Nick says, I'm looking at it from a resale perspective. I was thinking 30 to 35% of comps. That's fair. And honestly, I don't look at it from that perspective, especially, and I don't know if this is, and again, every collection is going to be different. I don't know if this is a smaller, if it's say 1,000 cards, I don't want to comp out 1,000 cards. I'm looking at it from a bulk perspective. And I don't like looking at it at comps because there's a big time investment that goes into it. And going back to that collection that we put an offer in, we probably offered, man, I mean, we were probably 10% of comps, but it was going to take so much time to sell because it was a big collection of like $20 cards. And there were a lot of commons. There were a lot of cards. It's like, this is just going to go probably in a bulk sale. And it was going to take to get back to break even was going to take a long time, a lot of work and a long time. So I don't like, if it's a couple cards, if it's 10 cards, looking at comps perfectly fine because it's much easier. But in my lens, like I'm kind of looking through the lens of a volume, because those are the collections that I typically buy. I'm not really buying smaller collections of 20 cards, or I'm not looking at a couple cards to flip quickly. I'm looking more from a volume type of deal where I'm not really looking at comps. Although, like, say, and I guess I kind of do on like a bulk, on like a bargain box, where if it's mostly quarter fodder or stuff that I'll put in my $1.50 store, I'm looking to pay a penny to 2 cents a card, because it's going to take a long time, and it's not like I'm going to sell these cards quickly. So from that perspective, I'm kind of looking at comps. Mark Hoyle, good morning. John says siblings are dicks. I have a video on YouTube to prove it. Let's see. Something Sports Cards. What is up? Good morning. Jenny says, I just used PayPal to buy my Fujitsu 7030. Jenny, yes. Welcome to the Fujitsu Club. Watch out, Bo. I'm going to be a listing machine. That is awesome. I love it. John says, does PayPal charge a fee for quick transfer? Yes, they do. Venmo charges an expediting fee to transfer immediately. Yes, PayPal does. I can't remember what it is. When I transfer money, I don't need it, right? It's like I had some vendors that paid for their tables for the next Madison card show, and I had like 2 of them come in. So it's like, boom. And I can wait though. It's like 1 to 3 days. And typically it's actually pretty fast now. It was like up to 3 days. And now it's like, sometimes it's next day that I get that money. So it's like, I'm not going to pay the $2-3 for expediting. So yes, PayPal does charge a fee for like immediately having those funds in your account. Let's see. George has a pet peeve. eBay 1 of 1. Oh man, down a rabbit. eBay 1 of 1, non-auto, set break. Those are 3 that come to mind. I freaking hate looking for like a Cubs auto and then 77 non-autos populate, or I'm looking for a complete set, and this is usually for comps, like what's a complete set from 1977 Topps, and it's like 100 listings, 1977 Topps set break near me, like I want a complete set. And I know then I have to go into the filters and okay, complete sets or whatever. So yeah, so that's an eBay pet peeve. There's many of those also. Ed says managed payments is one of the few positive enhancements eBay has made. Totally agree. I love eBay managed payments. The only thing I don't like is the transaction fees. And I feel that and what sucks about that is it's why would eBay choose to like get on that and make a fix where, like the topic that I used yesterday, stop giving eBay unnecessary money, because buyers can control that. Why would eBay try to stop that when that's extra money in their pockets? Perfect example that I showed. I think I threw the paper away, my notes, but it was like an extra $2.70 in transaction fees that all the buyer had to do was add to cart instead of pay for it now. And that buyer would have saved 25% on his bill, which would have been like $3.75. I would have saved $2.70, and actually I would have, had the buyer done that, it was more for the buyer's side, because I actually spent less in fees than what I would have given up in discounts. because my discounts would have added up to what, 375, and I paid 270 in additional. So it wasn't like it actually saved me $1. But it cost the buyer $3.75, and eBay got an additional $2.70 that they didn't need, and neither the buyer nor the seller benefited. So that's one of the quirks with managed payments and having eBay handling that. But everything going through eBay, I like, and I know some people, many people don't like that fact, but I do. It works for me. John says the industrialists need the hobbyists more than the other way around. So this is down a wormhole. I agree and disagree with that. Both need each other. Does one need more than the other? Maybe, but look at it this way. I don't think so. No, I don't agree with that, because there's more industrialists than hobbyists. Because look at who's buying most of the, let's just sealed wax is how the companies, like, the secondary market is all, essentially hobbyists, dealers, whatever. But let's just look at sealed wax. What are the companies selling? The companies are selling sealed wax. They're not selling singles from, years gone by. Who's buying most of the sealed wax? Other industrialists. Not many hobbyists are buying straight from the companies. They're buying from even if a hobbyist is buying boxes, they're likely buying from another industrialist. And yeah, it is a trickle down effect. And if there weren't the hobbyists, the other industrialists wouldn't be in business either. But it's kind of a trickle down. So as I talk through this, I agree and disagree. I think it's a chicken or the egg. I don't think either one is more important. I think they're equally important. So that's my take. Fall Creek has a pet peeve: dealers that still pull out a Beckett to give you a price. I actually haven't seen this in quite some time, and I do a lot of card shows, and give you a price, then call it book price. I rarely see this. In fact, I don't even know if I've seen this in the last 2 years. And I've been to a lot of card shows. George posted a fortune link from an hour ago. LOL. There you go. There's your latest. John says if they stopped making cards today, hobbyists would still be hobbying. There are plenty of non-dealer methods to source cards. I love dealers, but everyone needs a reminder who butters the bread. But John, who are the hobbyists buying cards from? They still have to source their cards, because if you're selling other cards, or if you're buying cards, you have to buy them from somewhere, and it's most likely coming from a dealer. Yeah, if I agree that if manufacturers stopped printing cards, I would still collect. I would still sell. There would still be a base. It would probably be far less. But it's still out there. Let's see. Everyone needs a reminder who butters the bread. I agree. Let's see. They were floating the idea out there to gauge reaction. Kyle says, as a PayPal shareholder, I had to spell that out. As a PayPal shareholder, definitely disappointed in them. Max says, people that use PayPal the right way never had an issue. I agree. I've never had an issue, but I still have that. I still live in fear that I will have an issue. Just follow terms of service and you don't have a problem. It's a service, pay the fees. I agree. I 100% agree. I don't like the way they go about it. And I don't like some of the other, the platform itself has gone through some changes that I don't like change. But I never had an issue, but I've seen enough people that have had issues that I don't like the issues, and I agree, follow the rules. But I in some instances, I don't think the punishment met the crime. Nick says it was awesome in NYC. Crap. Where are we at? Where's Nick's comment? It was awesome in NYC when they made the smoking ban. I didn't have to hang my jacket in the car overnight to get rid of the smoke. I agree. It was one of those things where it's like I feel like, and I think I've come off my stance because I was in my 20s when that ban went into effect in Illinois where I lived. And I grew up, and I think the times in the 80s and 90s were a lot different. I mean, I have photos, and I don't think I'm the only one that grew up in the 80s with a birthday party, a birthday party with dad smoking a heater and drinking an old Milwaukee. I'm probably not the only guy or lady listening or watching that had a similar experience growing up in the 80s and 90s or probably in the 60s and 70s. So I had like a different viewpoint. Like still to this day, I loathe smoking. And I grew up just around my mom and dad both smoked. My mom still smokes despite my dad dying from lung cancer from being a lifelong smoker. It's a terrible addiction. It's now that I'm away from, like nobody smokes here in Wisconsin. And I don't know if that's like just I don't know if it's a location or if it's just the times are different now, but I've noticed less and less smoking, at least in my area, than when I grew up. So when I was in the 20s, like in my 20s, when that smoking ban went into place, it's like, you know what? I choose to come to the bar and smell like smoke every Saturday night. And I'm okay with it. Do I like it? No, but I'll accept it. That was kind of my thoughts on it. But now it's different because now I'm older and crotchety. Ed says, when I first got married, I used to 10 bar on the weekends. I would get home around 2 a.m. and the smell of smoke on me would wake up my wife. Oh, man. Yes, it is. Oh, man, it's such a strong, strong smell. Fernando, what is up? Good morning. DR, what is up? Good morning to you. Jenny says, I thought about doing the custom SKU like you do, but I enjoy the sorting the cards too much. So even though it slows me down, it's still my favorite to store everything by team. The more you scale up, and now that you ordered that Fujitsu, I think you'll change your mind pretty soon because it's really going to slow you down. The more and more cards you have to go through, it's going to really slow you down. Mark says, pet peeve when a seller sells any Red Sox card and put Ted Williams in the description for no reason. There you go. That's another one. Yeah, putting in and you type in, some player and that's like because some people load those up with Mike Trout, Fernando Tatis, Ronald Acuna, like all these top name players to get the views, and it's spamming, and it's against eBay's terms of service to do that. And yeah, I agree, it sucks because I'm not looking for Ted Williams. I might be looking for Roger Clemens, Red Sox cards. Let's see. Something Sports Cards wants to know what Jenny's eBay store name is. Dan says, pet peeve, sellers severely overpricing cards, not knowing the comps on certain players, thus holding a card hostage. Here's another. This is probably my biggest pet peeve from like a talking comps. And this goes not just eBay, but also Pepino Man, where Pepino Man comes in and starts all this pet peeve and leave, starts the fire and walks away. So here's my pet peeve on comps, and comps are important. My pet peeve with comps though is people overvaluing their side and devaluing the other side, where it's like it's almost like the cherry picking. And I have a card that's it's overpriced in my eBay store. I think it's priced at $150. And it's it's an auto numbered out of 75. I also had one auto, the same player, and it was the orange numbered to 25 auto. And that one sold for 125. So there you go. I should have probably dropped my price on the one or on the of 75. But it's still 150 your best offer. I had somebody come in $20, and they had in the notes they said one just sold for $20 or something like that. And so I countered, and it's like, I know mine's overpriced, but I just sold my numbered out at 25 for 125. So I think I countered it like 80. This is my best price, because my orange sold for 125. And it's like, I didn't even look to see what that comp was, but I guarantee you it was an auction. And who knows when it ended. I hate auctions. Auctions are not real comps. I do not take into account, and yes, I know buy it now prices can be manipulated, but auction prices blow. I don't run eBay auctions. If you want to get bottom dollar for your cards, sell on eBay auctions. And do you want to deal with not only low prices but people not paying? Run eBay auctions. If you want to pull your hair out and curse eBay, run auctions. I hate auctions. Did I say that all? I hate auctions. I hate eBay auctions. So, and I see this a lot at card shows where somebody comes up and they're like, I'll give you, this card for that card. And, it's like, well, this did, and they're pulling the best comp. And then they're using the worst comp that they're trying to trade for. It's like, well, why do you want it? If if you're talking junk on the comps on the card that I have, but you want it, why are you devaluing it? If it's not as good as your card, why are you trading for it? In those situations, he could be it could be for his PC. It's likely not. In the situations I've witnessed, it's not. So that's my pet peeve. Comping and not abusing comps, but just misusing comps, or actually manipulating comps. That's the better term. Manipulating comps is a pet peeve. I see it more in person, like at shows, than eBay, because I see it at shows. I experience it myself on eBay, but it's not. I mean, most of my cards are low dollar cards, so it's not like, if it's a $3 card, people are, well, the last one sold for $2. It's like, okay, whatever. Take here, have it for $2. But every once in a while, when I have like an auto, a hit, and it's priced at $100 or over, you'll get that. But that's not my lane. So Terry says, I just had a buyer asking where his card was 2 days after it was shipped. I looked at his feedback left for sellers. 8 of the last 10 were negatives. Drop that name if you're willing, because I would like to add that one to my block list. Brian, Ginger Wisdom, what is up? Pet peeve, ripping wax. I suck at it. And if lucky, make my money back. And that's, that ripping wax it's a gamble, and you can make money. And I want to do a video on this, because if you know what you're doing and you buy at the right price, there's a lot that goes into it. You can make money ripping wax. I will tell you, if you go to Walmart right now and spend $100 on blaster boxes, no matter what it is, well, in certain instances, you're not going to make your money back. If you go to Walmart when Bowman is released and buy 5 blasters, you're going to have a much better chance at making money. But if you like those WWE Heritage 2017 WWE Heritage hanger boxes, Blowout was selling them on one of their flash sales or whatever they call them, $5 for a hanger box. That's a no-brainer. I've only sold, I just started listing them last night. But I did sell a couple out of my eBay store last night. I sold both Alexa. So I've pulled two base Alexa Bliss and 2 of the bronze. So I was happy with the 2 bronze. Both base cards sold for $10 each. Same buyer, actually. So the $10 a piece. That paid for, gross. That paid for 4 of the hanger boxes. So that was a no-brainer. That's why I bought 48 of those puppies. Because those singles sell well. The Heritage Wrestling singles sell pretty well. Let's see. There's the link to Jenny's eBay store. Jenny says, I would rather a dealer pull out a Beckett and be old school than a dealer pull out a phone and hit the eBay app, in my opinion, says Jenny. I'm okay with either. I think I'm less, and it all depends on a Beckett. If it's a 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle, or anything vintage, I'm okay with a Beckett because the prices don't fluctuate as much as now. If it's a 2019 Zion Williamson, who knows? Because month to month, that difference is going to be could be very different. So I'm really okay with it. Let's see. Ed says pet peeve: dealers who don't have prices on their cards. I agree. My pet peeve with that. Here's my pet peeve. Lo and behold, I have a whole bunch of them, I guess. So my pet peeve with non-priced cards. Now, if it's tobacco cards, if it's pre-war, I'm okay with that. Because it's usually something that I will ask for because I'm truly interested in the card. If it's like a Bowman auto of Chris Bryant, they're a dime a dozen and it's not priced, I'm just going to walk away. But if it's a pre-war card, because not, half the dealers might have that same Chris Bryant card, but only one or two dealers have a T206 that I like. So if it's not priced, I'm going to ask. But my pet peeve when it comes to non-pricing is what looks to be a bargain box, but it's not. And what I mean by that is somebody has a 4-row box of top-loaded cards, and there's no pricing whatsoever. And you say, and so it's like, okay, is this a $1 box? Is this a $5 box? And so I'll say, what's the price on these cards? Oh, it depends. Oh, it depends. So if I spend an hour digging through this box and pull out 100 cards, you may charge me over comps or whatever. Like, and I'm a bargain shopper. So, that I'm not, if I'm digging through a box like that, I'm not looking to pay comps. I'm looking to get a volume discount. I'm looking to get some deals. That's the reason I like dollar boxes, quarter boxes, because I can find the cards that are grossly undercomped and make a profit. That's what I do. So that's my biggest pet peeve when it comes to non-priced is the mishmash, what appears to be a bargain box, but it's not, and they're not even priced. Like, it's one thing if it's a monster box and they each have like a price tag on it. At least I know. And if this is priced at $2, it's like, oh, hey, I think this is almost bit my tongue. I think this is a $5 card. It's priced at $2. I'll pull this aside, and if I buy enough, maybe he'll give me a nice discount. But if they're not priced at all, and he like looks through them, is he just going to eyeball it and guess and say, $1 a card, or is he going to comp every one out? I don't want to get to that point and find out. So that's when I just, okay, walk away. Boston Smoke says in the 1980s, Beckett. Oh, we got the sex bots in the house. Where was that chat at? Let's see. Where we at? Missing a lot of chat. We've got a lot of chat for Monday. We didn't even talk football today, and I don't plan on it. Boston Smoke says in the 1980s, Beckett was the law. If the card listed for 15 cents, many dealers were firm at that price. Absolutely. Because there was no internet. Beckett was the only guide. We didn't have eBay comps. We didn't have other online platforms. Tracy says, picked up a mixed bag of late 80s and 90s wax packs for 25 cents each all freaking day. Love it. All day. I have expected, but 40 packs for $10 will be a fun hour. Definitely. I love deals on junk wax packs. And I will, 25 cents all day. Something Sports Card says, what is the theory behind free shipping on low dollar cards and how do you make money shipping via standard envelope? Great question. So free shipping actually helps boost sellers within eBay. So eBay rewards sellers that offer free shipping. That's number one. Number two, it's almost out of laziness because I don't have to deal with shipping volume discounts, and it also makes it easier for buyers. They don't have to do math. Like, okay, if I buy 7 cards, I get, I have to pay this much, or if I buy 10 cards, I get free shipping. It's just free shipping across the board. Now, how do you make money? So $1.50 free shipping. I am using standard envelope on pretty much anything under $20. If it gets close to $20, then I'm going to do it. Or if there's, a 12 card order, 15 card order, it's probably going to go bubble mailer. So that's how you do it. And that's why I pretty much, cap it at $1.50, because my net profit on that's about 45 cents. I'll drop it down to $1.40 as like my best if somebody's only buying 1 card. So my net's about 35 cents. But obviously, the more they buy, the more of a discount I'm willing to give. John says, I buy from Facebook Marketplace. I buy from garage sales. I buy from other people getting rid of their cards. Absolutely. The last two, I'm annoyed by this. The last 2 Facebook Marketplace collections I've been interested in, I've not received a response. Let me see if I've received a response, because the latest was just last night. But it doesn't appear that I have received a response. It's a huge collection, but there's no price. And actually, the title is Huge Collection. But there's like autographs, there's vintage, there's like 70s football, all the way back to 1970 Topps football. There's junk wax sets. I see a 90 Fleer, an 88 Fleer, 89 Topps. There's some of the small traded sets. I think there's even a USFL set in there. What else is in here? We've got Branson cards. Let's see. I think there's some wacky packs. John Madden action packed. There's an unopened 88 Fleer box, American Gladiators. There's some monster boxes of 70s football and baseball. Looks like there's 4 of them. There's jerseys. So it's a huge collection. And it just says hundreds of autograph and relic cards, thousands of vintage cards from the 40s to 70s, junk wax, new cards, rookies, Hall of Famers, over 50 signed jerseys, 20 plus signed footballs, dozens of signed 8x10s, complete sets. There's the sex spots, complete sets, wax, and more. Mostly football, but some UFC, baseball, and NBA. Stop by and check it out. So there's no price on it. I'm not going to drive to check it out without knowing a starting price. So he has not responded to my message. So cool. Probably out of my price range. And I'm not like jerseys and autographs and footballs. Like that's not my lane. So that's stuff that's probably going to like price it out. That I'm not like, I just don't want to go down that road. So we'll see. Jenny says, I'm going to be honest. I had no idea you could ever smoke in bars. Yes. You could smoke everywhere in like the 80s, and like you could go. I remember, and this was as late as like because I was living in Macomb. This was like 2005. So like what, 15 years ago. We would go to I call it Ponderosa. But we would go to Ponderosa when my parents would come visit because there was a smoking section. Now the smoking section, it wasn't even like a separate room. There was maybe like a half wall that separated the buffet from the smoking section. Like you could smoke in restaurants. It was disgusting. But yeah, we've come along. We've come a long way. Let's see. Victor says, my dad used to. My dad sent me to the store for his cigarettes in the 80s. He smoked Salem's. My very early memories, I remember you could take a note to my local IGA. And it kind of like, it was kind of like a per, it wasn't like it wasn't a guarantee that you could buy your parents cigarettes because Beatrice, she had that watchful eye. If you were in the candy aisle, she was keeping a close eye on those kids, Beatrice. But some were more trustworthy than others in getting their cigarettes for their parents. So it didn't work all the time. Or they would like call, and usually they would like they know the number because we lived in a town of 800. It's like, I'm gonna call your mom, and just to make sure. And if the kid was trying to get those cigarettes for himself, and Beatrice threatened that she would call his mom, uh, he would be like, never mind, never mind. And so that was a surefire way to uh, you know, get caught or not get the cigarettes or whatever. Card Hobbyist says tobacco more popular in the South where it was grown. John says, Jenny, you haven't lived until you've been on a plane with smoking sections. I never flew when smoking was allowed on planes. Dan says that smoking ban in Illinois was great for those who worked in the restaurant and bar industry, so they didn't breathe tons of secondhand smoke. Definitely. John grew up with a mom who smoked 24/7, had no idea how bad my clothes smelled until I moved out. Yes, same boat, same boat. Perhaps every kid smelled the same, but it was disgusting. Like now I look back and it's like, what did my teachers think? Like, I come to school, my jacket just reeks of cigarette smoke and my clothes smell like, I wonder what my teachers and some of my classmates thought, especially as I got, a little older. Brian says that SEO description loading is BS and will get you screwed in the end. Let's see. Jenny says CDP, Car Dealer Pro, must have saved item specs because when I searched twins in your shop, I got a bunch of Bowman U. Really? Bowman U under twins? Now I'm curious. Let's see. I wonder. The only thing that was probably, if that happened, it was a user error on my end. If because there for a time, twins. Let's see. So what happens if I manually enter? I may have just forgotten to delete like the team field out. I am not getting any Bowman U on my twin search within my eBay store. A lot of Kirby Puckett. There's Pro Debut. Bowman, 94 Leaf. I typed in twins. I'm not getting any Bowman U on a twin search. But that could happen if and it's not Car Dealer Pro's fault. It's my fault for not clearing. Like so what happens is if Car Dealer Pro didn't have Pro Debut in there, it wasn't recognizing Pro Debut because it's such a new set. So I have to manually fill out the specs. Yeah, I'm not finding any Bowman U under a twin search in my store. Huh. If you can do that again, send me a screenshot just so I'm seeing it. I'm not seeing any Bowman. It's all legit twins cards. Where are we at? Somebody with Ed's accent should smell like smoke. It's part of the complete package. Rock Latex says, is that a Chewy box back there? What type of dog is Biscuit? It is. That is a Chewy box you see right over my shoulder. Biscuit is a Havanese, a little 10-pound Havanese. Chris Sewell, is it Sewell or Sewell? Just did a great video about reprint and fakes description on eBay. I just found a few minutes ago these 1952 tops in a folder of a collection I bought over the summer. What a surprise. Very nice. Max says, let's make that a shirt for the National next year. Auctions are not real comps. Hey, I would make and wear that shirt proudly. I have put overpriced cards in my store before that I didn't care about selling, but if you want to pay, it's yours. And that's the thing. And so here's another reason, going back to what I talked about early in the show. That's why I like having best offer open, because when Bowman comes out, there's a premium on some of the prospects. Where like Ellie De La Cruz first Bowman Chromes at release were like $20, and I have some first Bowman Chromes that are probably in my store right now way over comps, at $10, $15. They're probably $3 to $5 cards now because there's not that release week premium. So that's why I like. And I had, and this has been a while, but a few months ago, I had like I think it was a Bowman first edition, and it was listed because at the time they came out was like during the big boom. They were selling for like 10, $20, depending on who it was. So I think I had it priced at like $15, and it's like a $5 card. And it might have been priced at 20. I can't remember, but somebody came in, they offered me like $4 on a card I had listed, just say $20. So they offered me 20% of my list price, but my list price was way overpriced. So that's why I like having best offer, because sometimes I just, don't go back and change pricing when I have 23,000 listings. So I just let it ride. Jenny says, I missed Bo's feelings about eBay auctions. Anyone catch it? What's your thoughts on eBay auctions? John says, guides, not menus. There you go. The last 5 Burley plates I won were under $20, but every plate listed now is no less than 40. Also, most of 5 auto Burley parallels sell for under 30, and that seller still has them at $80 each. Red Light 34, what's up? Good morning. Card Hobbyist says ripping wax should be considered entertainment. I agree. Seeking profit through the randomness of boxes is the same as gambling. I agree with that as well. Enjoyable, but dangerous. I totally agree with that, with both points. I do take into consideration when I'm buying a box, there's value for me as entertainment, whether it's doing a video or it's just sitting on the floor and ripping wax and watching a game. I enjoy that. That's entertainment to me. So is it, 100% of that box cost? No, but there's value in that. And I completely agree. Opening any type of wax is a gamble. Tracy says, agreed. I've never pulled more than a $5, $10 card out of any box I've bought. It could just be my crappy luck. I think it's your crappy luck. I think it is your crappy luck. I do not stop at tables without prices. What's up, Cooter? I assume you were a card exhibitor and not a card seller. Andrew, what's up? Good morning. Diego says somebody is selling my collection. Let's see. 50 watching, only 18 likes. Hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Card Hobbyist. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We've had like 50 people watching on a No Topic Monday. I love it. The break says, born in the 70s, my mom used to send me 2 with a note to give the cashier. Those were the days. I think by the time I reached like that age where my friends were dabbling with smoking, I think that was like now no longer, stores wouldn't do that. Like you couldn't get away. Even in my small town, you couldn't buy smokes for mom. But I do remember like in the late 80s as like a 7 or 8 year old, I do remember that still being able to fly. Or like somebody would come in and be like, my mom needs a pack of Marlboro Lights. And or better yet, because I think my cousin, this happened to my cousin, came in and my mom needs cigarettes. And Beatrice was like, well, what kind of cigarettes? I don't know. Well, let me call your mom, and call mom. So-and-so's here. She says you need cigarettes. Yeah, she's supposed to get the Marlboro Ultra Lights or whatever. It's like crazy times, those 80s and 70s. Let's see. Jenny's got to head out. Have a great day. Victor says, oh my God, I couldn't believe I got on planes when smoking was allowed. Dan says on February 25th, 1990, the no smoking sign was permanently lit on U.S. domestic airline flights. Okay, I didn't take my first flight. I was in my 20s before I got on a plane for the first time, which was, I think it was like 2007 or 2008 before I had my first flight. I was well into my 20s. I was probably 25 when I got on a plane for the first time. Card Hobbyist says, as a kid, I used to annoy my mother by constantly fidgeting with the flip-top ashtray built in the passenger side door. Yes. Oh, man, I totally remember that. And some ashtrays were funner to flip. Some were, because the springs in them, they like clasp really fast. And then you'd put, oh, hey, that guy got back to me on the collection. We're going to get a live update on the collection. I think he's kicking the tires. He's fishing. This guy's fishing. But yeah, and then you'd put your finger in the ashtray. Did you ever do this? Probably not, because you weren't a dumb kid like I was. You'd put your finger in, and that, and how much? Ooh, that hurt. Oh, do it again. Do it again. Oh, that hurt. Do it again. Oh man. So the collection that I was just talking about on Facebook Marketplace, I did get a response. So let's take a look. So let's see the details again. So it's a really, I mean, there's a lot here. There's 2 binders of signed 8x10s, 1983 Topps football. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 shoe boxes of top-loaded cards, 80, 81 Topps basketball. We've got a 75 Topps football binder, an 84 Topps football set, 70 Topps football binder, 72 and a 75 Topps football binder. Talked about all the junk wax sets and boxes. I saw a USFL set. There's about 4 monster boxes of 70s singles from football and basketball, and then a bunch of jerseys and I guess football. So the response I got, because I wanted to know, there's no price on this collection. I wanted to know, what's the price? So my response that I just received live on the air: selling for my boss. I've been just piecing things out, but he wants over 50 for everything, I believe. He thinks he can get more than that by selling everything individually. No shit. Even though it's going to take longer. Yeah. So 50's out of my price range. He means 50,000. So 50,000, well out of my price range. But I appreciate the response. And yes, you list for less than what you could piece it out for, because something like that. And okay, so here's a perfect example. I don't know if Nick's still here, but here's a perfect example. Now, I don't know anything about jerseys or really autographs, so this would take me a lot of time to figure out. But I'm looking here, and it's like, just based on the pictures, like, there's, for $50,000, what's in here that's going to get me close? Like, I don't think there's a $1,000 card in this entire collection. Is there? I don't think there's an item that could sell for $1,000, and he wants 50K. Like, that's not going to happen. There's a bunch of 70s commons, which, you can sell those for. I could move those on eBay for $150 shipped. Jerseys, what's a signed jersey, and it depends, is it a real jersey, is it authenticated, who knows? So I don't know anything about that. So 50K is just an outrageous asking price, because there's nothing even close to getting that back. I mean, it would take you a long time. So that's just, so something like that, I probably won't even respond, because it's not going to work. So where are we at? Where are we at in the chat? Let's see. Dan says it wasn't until 2000 that the U.S. banned smoking on all flights to, from, or within the U.S. Tracy says, can we all just share dog pictures? Love to see them. What year was the Gran Torino? My first car, 73 powder blue Gran Torino. My first car, 89 white Pontiac Sunbird. Victor, the rookie card specialist, shout out to you on this one, Bo. Thanks for number 5. Ooh, I'm going to have to check that out. Card Hobbyist says, I don't recall, but I think it was a 75. First car memories. Ed says, in my hometown, if you went into a bar or restaurant that didn't have a cloud of smoke covering it, probably wasn't doing much business. Yeah, we had a bar. It was called Dean's Tap, and it's still open. It's now called Front Street Tap. And it's right. We called, most people call their business sections in their towns downtown. Ours was uptown. So uptown Anawan, we had Dean's Tap, which was it was small, dark, and smoky. It was just like, it was just a cloud of smoke when you walked in. It took years after the smoking ban went into effect. Well, because they allowed smoking for a few years also. But it took years to get like that stench. And what was the only thing worse than bar smoke, than smoke in a bar, is when there's no smoke in a bar and no like fresh smoke in a bar, when it's the old smoke smell, that's even worse than the new smoke smell. Is the what do you call it? The outdated or expired, I don't know, old smoke. The old smoke smell. Ugh. Like I'm like dry heaving thinking about it. Herman says, I remember asking my mom what she's going to do when cigarettes get to $2, right? I remember my dad would always say that whenever they went up, it's like, if they go up to $3, I'm done smoking. And guess what? He smoked until the day he died. Well, uh, a few days before he died. Terry says there were still cigarette machines when I was a kid. I remember the Chuck Wagon in Mineral. I think that was the last place that I remember having a cigarette pack machine. Was at the Chuck Wagon, and kids would sneak in there and try to, because it was like right at the front door, so you could just sneak in. It was right around the corner, and you could get your Virginia Slims or your Salems or your Marbs right there. John Honeycutt, what's up? Can you scan a Bowman Chrome on the Fujitsu scanner? So I have luck scanning Bowman Chrome in the 7030. Some people will say it scratches them, but I haven't had any scratch. I mean, most Bowman Chromes are scratched already anyway. They're like print lines and scratches anyway. But the 7030, I was able to scan Bowman Chrome. The 8170, I'm not having as good a luck, which sucks because it's the newer, faster, better model. Nick says, I did really well with buying bulk 8x10s, but there were a lot of stars, paid about $2 per photo. Jayhawk Farm says, what is the largest number of listeners you have had live for Hobby Evolution? I think I hit 60 once. Seeing it consistently near 50 in the chat when I listen now. Yeah, it's usually, I would say a good show is 50. We hit 50 every once in a while, not every day, but it's good when I hit 50. I think there was one time I hit 60. But yeah, it's usually 50 is a good day. We're almost at an hour and a half and still 43 are in here. So as I wrap up, Card Hobbyist says those old cigarette machines would be great if they could have dispensed packs of junk wax instead. Right. Then I'd be a buyer. So we ran the gamut today. We talked about pet peeves. Thanks, Pepino, man. He started the fire and walked away. We talked about smoking in the 80s. And we talked about our pet peeves on eBay, and we got a live update on a big collection that I saw on Facebook Marketplace. My eBay store is over 23,000 active listings. The link is in the description, so check that out. Buy 7 or more at regular price, and you'll get an automatic 25% discount at checkout. So again, that link is in the description. This weekend is the big Midwest premiere at the Indoor Sports Center in Loves Park, Illinois. 250 tables, runs 10 a.m. and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday. Indoor Sports Center in Loves Park, which is just outside of Rockford. It's an hour west of O'Hare on I-90. That's this Saturday and Sunday. The following Saturday, October 22nd, is the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive with 125 tables. So with that, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you. An awesome chat. Awesome chat this morning. Thanks for joining. We'll talk about randomness again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central for Hobby Evolution. Have a great Monday.